Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, traders. Whenever you're watching this video, this is CloudChartist with your weekly Ichimoku wrap video for the week ending April 22nd, which is Earth Day and Passover, coincidentally or not. I apologize for not doing a video last week. I was quite sick with the flu. I'm feeling better, but I have a little bit of a cough, so I'm hoping that I will be able to keep that at bay during this video, but definitely much improved over last week. So getting started, we see that the ES put in a higher high and a higher low last week, so it still continues to be an uptrend that it's been in for several weeks now. It's bullish as price action is above the cloud. We have a bull cross Tenkan-sen. The Tenkan-sen has moved over the cloud at this point also. And the Chikou is over here, this red line representing price action time shifted 26 periods into the past, or 26 weeks in this case. The Chikou is free to move higher if it likes to. We are not yet overbought, but we did find some selling after we put in a new high last week of interestingly, let's see, 21.0525 was the high that we put in last week. We do have a lot of other topping tails in this area. We were unable to get above that area back in November. We continued chopping around in this general vicinity. So that could be some important resistance carrying over from that past time period, from that last fall. So we'll see what happens. But for the time being, we are bullish in all ways Ichimoku. We see also that the Tenkan-sen is bull crossed. The Tenkan-sen is bull crossed whenever it's crossed over the Kijun-sen, which is the pink line here. The Tenkan-sen is above the cloud as well. So when the new candle opens up, it will have the Tenkan-sen as support wherever the Tenkan-sen opens. And given the momentum of this last week's candle, Tenkan-sen will probably open higher. I'm going to guess probably around 2010 area. So that might be a potential pullback target, the Tenkan-sen wherever it opens on the new candle. We do have a thin, flat cloud here. Thin, flat clouds tend to attract mean reversion. Or look for a tighter range. So we'll see what happens there. That thin flat cloud condition lasts until the end of May. So keep that in mind then. That the last week of May we get a little bit of ramp up into a thicker cloud for the month of June and into the beginning of July. So aside from the topping tail, everything is bullish in Ichimoku terms for the ES. Let's carry on and look at crude. So crude put in a very bullish candle last week. We had some oil striking news, and we had some lack of Doha production cuts, etc. last week. But we did still have a very bullish week for crude. I pointed out in the middle of the week that the Chikou was running into some resistance here. This Chikou red line here was running into the bottom of this candle, which was at 44.20, so that was an issue. And also the Tenkan-sen here was an issue at 44.34. And you see that we did test those levels, but closed slightly below those levels. So it'll be interesting to see this week if the Chikou continues to be rejected from this area, meaning potentially the bottom of this candle here, the next candle over, which is, let's see, around 44, the bottom of this cloud's around 44.74. Or we could even get rejected by the bottom of this candle here, which is 42.58. Or we could move into this candle and potentially find resistance at the top of the candle or at the Tenkan-sen, where the top of this candle did find resistance at 46.75. 46.75 level would be also somewhat congruent with this cloud level. So if we do continue higher, we can expect potentially to find resistance at the cloud here around 47.62 thereabouts, 47.70, something in that general vicinity. Specifically, like exactly the new candle, it will be at 48.46, so that's considerably higher. We do have a bull cross here underneath price action, so if we do find some selling, we could potentially find support at the Tenkan-sen, wherever the Tenkan-sen opens up. Given the momentum of this this bullish candle, we could expect the Tenkan-sen potentially to open up higher, maybe even around 39.50 thereabouts. We see that the cloud is thin in this area, it's sort of pinching in. That's a potential area where crude could break through. It's the thinnest area coming up in the near future. That's not till the end of May though. But so we could see price action go up, move sideways, and then potentially move through the cloud here. That's just one potential scenario. We could also see price action get rejected at the cloud and follow the contour of the cloud lower as well. That's another possible scenario for crude. All right, let's look at some other stock indexes. Let's start with the Dow. The Dow is bullish, looking a lot like the ES chart here, very much like the ES chart. Do have a bit of a topping tail, do have some prior resistance, obviously. You can see from these candles from last fall. Sorry, actually that was last summer, then also last fall after we got the bounce. So potential resistance here for the YM. Not yet overbought. If we do get a pullback, we can look for the Tenkan-sen to support wherever the Tenkan-sen happens to open up, similar to what I said about the ES. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, we saw, we did put in a higher high and a higher low, but we closed a less bullish looking candle. We had some tech earnings that were not so super great, which is probably the reason that the NASDAQ was less bullish than the other indexes that we've looked at so far. We see the Chikou over here is actually inside the middle of this candle here, so it would be interesting to see whether what happens with the Chikou in the upcoming week. Okay, I just paused the video to answer the phone and I forget where I was. So hopefully you understand where we're at with the NASDAQ. It's pretty similar to the other ones. We are kind of holding this support level in around 44.65 area, which was prior support on multiple occasions. So we'll see if we continue to make another sideways flagging type candle. We do have a rising cloud here coming up, but that's not until late June. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the Russell. Russell put in another bullish candle, but it's still under the cloud, so technically the Russell is still in bear territory. We see the Chikou is coming into resistance at the bottom of this candle here and potentially at the bottom of the cloud, which is also where the candle is going to come into the bottom of the cloud. So that's at around 1156.40. We're currently at 1146, so 10 more points on the Russell from here. Expect for potential resistance. If we do move into the cloud, we will go from being bearish to being neutral. And we will be neutral all the way until the top of the cloud, which next week is going to be at 1181.90. So look at that area, that level to potentially act as resistance as well. We do have potential bull cross, which I expect will happen when we get the new candle open this evening. The Tenkan-sen is looking to cross over the Kijun-sen. Bull crosses are not as significant if they're under the cloud than if they're above the cloud, but it will allow the Tenkan-sen to come up and act as support if we do get a pullback. All right, let's look at some metals. Gold put in a higher high and a higher low. Did make a new high up here at 1272.40 and then proceeded to sell off and put in a close underneath the Tenkan-sen. So that is potentially not what gold bulls really want to see. Potentially not indicative of continued uptrend. It was key that we did put in a close below this 1245.20 Tenkan-sen. So what can we expect going further? Overall, gold is still bullish as it's over the cloud, but unless it can get back over that 1245.20 Tenkan-sen level, there's a potential for it to chop around and potentially come back down and test the top of the cloud at around, let's see, 1190. So keep an eye on that. The Chikou is inside the cloud, so the Chikou is going to have resistance at the top of the cloud here, which is at 1238.60. So bullish, but not necessarily a continuation, and we could see a potential trend change to the downside. We would need to see a lower high and a lower low in order to confirm that. Let's look at silver. So silver did put in a, last week put in a close above the cloud here. And so it went from being bearish under the cloud to being bullish over the cloud in 1 week. That's pretty unusual for it to make such a huge move for any Ichimoku chart to make such a huge move above the cloud in just 2 weeks like that. But it is silver, so you never know. So silver made some crazy moves to the upside, probably killing a fair amount of short stops, and then closed at about half of the current candle. Which is not particularly bullish. A lot of sellers came in. We do have a flat and descending cloud coming up in the future. And we are also we're not technically overbought on RSI, but that was a very strong and fast move. So I would not be surprised to see mean reversion back towards the cloud and potentially a candle that could come all the way back down and test the top of the cloud at 1620. So keep an eye on that. But overall, we are in bullish territory for silver at the moment. I found that fading highs to be a very profitable and successful strategy last week. So we'll see if that potentially continues. The Chikou is inside the cloud here, and so if we do actually get higher prices for silver, we note that the Chikou is going to have resistance at the top of the cloud up here at 1789. So that should put a cap on price action to the upside. Frankly, I'd be surprised to see it go that high, but who knows? It could do so. All right, let's look at some treasuries. We have beloved Fed FOMC this week. Oh joy, fun, fun, fun. We find that the treasuries, which have been on quite a bull tear lately, reversed and put in a lower high and a lower low. So they are now in downtrend after this potential reversal candle was confirmed by this reversal. We were unable to hold the Tenkan-sen at 164.06 on the 30-year Treasury bond, and chances are good that we will test the Kijun-sen at 161.03. Whether or not we'll find support there, we will see. We do have a bit of a trough in the cloud here and a potential cloud twist coming up in late June. So keep that in mind. But we do have basically a rising cloud structure. So if we do lose the Kijun-sen, it would not surprise me if price came down and sort of tried to test in this area here. So this 161.03 level is very important going further on the 30-year Treasury bond. Let's look at the 10-year. 10-year also putting in a reversal, making a oscillation pattern here, as it loves to do. Closed underneath the Tenkan-sen here, was unable to hold the support of the Tenkan-sen at 129.235 and came down. I expect that it's fully possible that we might test the Kijun-sen at 129.050 and potentially lower if we do lose that support. If we lose the support of the Kijun-sen at 129.050 on the 10-year, we can look at where the Kijun-sen, where the Chikou is going to come into potential support. So next week it's going to come into the top of this candle, which is located at 129.025, and then the body of the candle, which is located at 128.130, and then the top of the cloud, Tenkan-sen combination here at around 128.085. So those are some levels you can see also represented here and here, some potential levels of support and resistance. If we do continue selling even lower, we do have the cloud that could potentially offer support down here at, let's see, 127.260. All right, let's look at the very important drivers for this market as of late. The Nikkei. Nikkei put in a very bullish candle last week after the prior week confirming a trend reversal to the upside after this 2 weeks ago putting in a potential bottoming candle here. So we did close above the Tenkan-sen, above the Kijun-sen here, and this is a prior support and resistance area thereabouts where we did close. We see that on multiple occasions in the past. If we do continue to the uptrend on the Nikkei, we have the cloud up here at around 18564 to potentially offer resistance. But before that, we have the Tenkan-sen inside the cloud where the Chikou could find resistance even sooner than that, around 18,116 thereabouts. So keep an eye on those on the Tenkan-sen for the Chikou to run into resistance on the Nikkei, and the cloud. It's possible that we could come all the way up here and even test the top of this cloud. That would be a pretty impressive move higher. That would be around 18,750, so that's quite a bit higher from here. Now also, inversely, let's look at the yen. I'm going to look at that via the 6J contract for the moment. The yen managed to put in a reversal after this reversal candle was confirmed, the lower high and a lower low, and we were unable to hold the Tenkan-sen at 0.090,187. Put in a close under the Tenkan-sen in this prior resistance turn support level. Looks likely to me that it's possible that the yen will continue lower and come down and test the Kijun-sen below at 0.0086828. We'll see. If that happens, we do have this trough that the price action can move lower into as well on the yen here. Let's look at another way of looking at the yen. Of course, there are many yen pairs to compare the yen against various currencies. Let's look at the dollar yen. dollar yen, I just ran some fibs to quickly see what we were some levels that we were working with, and we see that this 110.50 level is somewhat important. That's a 38.2 fib. And the 50% fib obviously is pretty important also. So if we do move higher, potential for it, we did put in a close above the Tenkan-sen, which was key and important, and the Chikou did close inside the cloud. So although the dollar yen pair is still bearish, we could see further upside, potentially to all the way up, a bounce to continue all the way up to the Kijun-sen. It needs to get back past this 113.50 area, which is obviously important. If we do come up to the Kijun-sen, then potentially surpass the Kijun-sen, then there's plenty of room for price action to come back into this arc area that is delineated by the cloud to the upside. So I guess really the first level, for a continued move higher that I'm looking at, is around this 113.50 area. If we lose the Tenkan-sen here, that would be very key. That's at 111.08, so keep an eye on that level. All right, let's see. I think I covered what I want to cover for the moment. If I have time, I'm going to plan on making a video about commodities. The grain markets were a bit bullish, and then didn't really hold their gains that well last week, so it'll be interesting to take a peek at the grains. Hopefully I'll get a chance to make a video about those. Thank you for watching my video, and especially if you're a new subscriber on YouTube, appreciate you signing up for my channel. If you want to like my video, if you liked it, that would be helpful for the bandwidth of getting, the more liked you are, the more high quality YouTube will dole you out. If you're interested in learning more about Ichimoku Charts, and you're interested in maybe joining my chat room, you can find out more information about that at CloudChartist.com. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter at CloudChartist, or you can always contact me via email, cloudchartist@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching, and good luck trading this week, and till next time.